Hi, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Michael Myers Fanatic. I'm back with another TV series review. Sister Sister. The show premiered on April 1st, 1994 and concluded on May 23rd of 1999. And it starred Tia Mowry and Tamera Mowry. I don't remember their married last names. I discovered the show in the mid-90s. I used to watch it after school. I didn't finish it, however. I recently got back into it in 2016 when it started airing on Centric, I think it was called. It might have been Centric or some other African American network. But yeah, that's when I got back into the show and I finally finished the rest of it. They now have it on Netflix if you want to see it. It was picked up by the WB. Originally, I think they said it was on ABC. But the show is basically about two twins that discover each other at a mall. And they move in with each other, or I should say that Tia and her mother, her adopted mother, move in with Tamera and her adopted father, Ray Campbell, played by Tim Reed, and Lisa Landry was played by Jack A. Harry. Okay, yeah, I thought it was on Centric. It was on Fuse. Yeah, see, I figured it was on one of those black networks, so that's where it is. It was on Fuse in 2016, and that's when I started watching the show again. I'm not going to spend too much time on it. I'm just going to go over my favorite episodes. And I just want to say that Roger Evans, played by Marcus Houston, had a crush on Tamera. And I don't know why she didn't want Roger. I thought he was a very nice guy. I like how they were always saying, "Go home, Roger." You know, that was cool. A few of my favorite episodes are, I like the one where they go to the morgue because they're trying to find their birth parents, and that's at the beginning of the show. They don't go to the morgue willingly, but that's where they end up. I thought that was cool. It was kind of creepy. I like the one where they were on the bus together and they were arguing. I don't know, for some reason I always like to see Tia and Tamera argue. I like the one where they were arguing with their friend. I think her name was Sarah, where Ray Campbell spent a buttload of money trying to give them a good birthday, and he took them to a fancy hotel. I thought that was awesome. Here's the weird part about the show. Tia was a bit of a snob, and it's really ironic because she came from the hood. You would think Tamera would be the snob because she grew up with the upper middle class dad. She was like a few inches below being rich. They were almost rich, and yet Tia was the snobby one. So that was a bit backwards. My favorite twin, believe it or not, is actually Tamera, even though I'm more like Tia, because Tia was the brainy one. And that's the way I was in school. I was brainy like Tia, and I wanted to hit the books. Whereas my brother was more like Tamera, and he wanted to party and have fun. And check this part out, guys. I'm actually a twin myself. I'm not an identical twin, but I'm a fraternal twin. So that's pretty interesting. So Tia and Tamera, if you're listening, from one set of twins to another, I really enjoyed Sister Sister. Tamera was my favorite twin because she was more down to earth, unlike Tia. And as I said, ironically, I was more like Tia. and yet Tamera was my favorite twin. I also liked the episode of Sister Sister where it was Valentine's Day, and I think Cupid shot Roger or shot Tia, and then Tia had a crush on Roger, and then Tamera got angry because they didn't want to hang out with her anymore. That was awesome. I like the episode where Tamera goes to bed and dreams about meeting all these historical black figures. As I told you guys with many of my reviews, I'm a big Twilight Zone fan, and when she met those historical black figures like Jackie Robinson and Daniel Hale Williams, it was sort of like a kind of Twilight Zone episode of Sister Sister. So I like anything with a hint of the supernatural in it, and Sister Sister had that. One of the last things I want to mention before I wrap this review up, I really liked Dion Richmond as Jordan. I forgot his last name. I'm going to look that up real quick. Okay, it was Jordan Bennett. Jordan Bennett was freaking hilarious, man. I liked that episode where they were reminiscing about the good old days and they had Roger with them, and they mentioned the scene where the little kid, he had a crush on, I think it was Tia, and he said something about ka-ching, and then Dion Richmond actually mimicked the kid. He was like ka-ching, and he actually did it better than the kid. You know, it made it hilarious. Dion Richmond, he was so freaking funny as Jordan Bennett. And this is not to take anything away from the guy that played Tyreek Scott, Tia Landry's boyfriend. Jordan was just funnier. You know, he was hilarious. I also liked Grandpa Campbell, played by the late great Sherman Hemsley. Awesome character. He did an episode where he played as the fairy godfather, I guess you would say, because he was a man. And again, that goes right back to that whole Twilight Zone thing. You know, I'm a huge fan of these supernatural elements, and I guess you can figure that out because I have a horror channel. So I really enjoyed Sister Sister. I thought the ending could have been a little bit better. It shows Lisa marrying this guy named Victor, and then it just goes off. Like, I thought that was a little weak. I thought they could have done better than that, but that's just my opinion. They said that they were going to do a reunion, but the reunion is still up in the air. Personally, I always wondered why they wait so late to do these reunions. Like, it's 2020. Why did they wait so late to do this when everyone's gotten older? I would have waited at least 10 years at the most. You know, while everyone is still fairly young. And I'm not trying to sound shallow. I just don't understand why they waited so late like that. But that's my opinion. I wish that they would have put Roger with one of the girls. I thought he was a nice guy. He did some not so nice things like playing them against each other and all that, but nobody's perfect. And I thought he should have ended up with one of them. And I thought Lisa should have married Ray. So I don't quite get that. The writing just didn't make any sense to me. Before I wrap this up, I just want to say that another one of the episodes that I liked is the one where Lisa gets a job at Tia's school in order to pay for a bracelet that Tia wanted or something like that. And Tia really didn't want Lisa there. but Tamera didn't seem to mind. That just goes right back to that whole thing I was talking about where Tia was a bit of a snob, even though she was from the hood. Tamera was more down to earth. And one of the things I want to talk about, I want to clear this up. When I mentioned the episode with them going to the morgue, that was because they went to a hospital because they had appendicitis. I really liked that episode. I liked the earlier seasons of Sister Sister. As the show went along, it got a little bit too pop culture-y for me. Like, they focused too much on pop culture with Boys to Men, with Next, and Immature, and all these R&B groups, and I didn't like that. I felt that it took away from the realism of the show, because when you start, you have to ask yourself, what are the odds that Tia and Tamera are gonna run into Boys to Men, or Next, or Immature, or something like that? That would be like me doing a TV show based on my life, and then I meet Dwayne Johnson. What are the odds of me meeting Dwayne Johnson? That's almost laughable. I don't like when they add these stars to the shows because it just takes away from the realism of it. So that's just not my thing. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's not possible. I've met some stars. You've seen it on this channel. I met Stephanie Gachet from Guiding Light. I met Robert Newman from Guiding Light. I met Michelle Ray Smith from Guiding Light. I've met horror celebrities. So it is possible. However, I'm saying it's just very unlikely. And they shouldn't include it in TV shows because it's really not as possible as they make it seem. It's very, very unlikely. Trust me, I've tried it. It rarely happens. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed my review of Sister Sister. It aired from April 1st, 1994 to May 23rd of 1999. Thank you for listening. I approve this message.